Good evening, everybody. Welcome to One Hub Racing for the finale of Season 19 here in the Podium tier. And we have a championship decider around the historic Imola circuit, round number 10 of Season 19 here. This is the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix. My name is Luke Etheridge. Joining me in the commentary box tonight is Mr. B-Boy Worm. B-Boy, how are you doing?
Doing very well. Thanks for having me. I'm looking forward to this finale of the season. It's going to be absolutely terrific, I'm sure. And I'm very much looking forward to getting proceedings underway today.
Yeah, as you can see, a season that started all the way back in September, 3rd of September around Melbourne. We've seen Bahrain, Hungary, France, Singapore, loads of other fantastic circuits. Last time around at the Circuit of the Americas for the Austin, for the US Grand Prix, it was quite an interesting result in the end. Not too many drivers actually making it to the checkered flag. Perhaps no surprise, though, to see who ended up coming out on top. It was Speed Matt who ended up taking the victory there. Fantastic performance from him. His championship rival, Cam K-Mon, finishing in second place. Kian in third, and it was only Rogue, Vitinho, Salty Bear, Jordan, Okiki, and Rich. Only 9 cars managing to get to the end of that race. What that meant for the Constructors' Championship, and you'll see why we're going through that first, is that did secure the Constructors' Championship then for AlphaTauri, Speedmat and Bettini coming home with that Constructors' title. They'll earn themselves a trophy and a nice little prize as well. Williams, Alpine, McLaren, Ferrari, Haas, despite their 2 wins, down in 6th in the championship, and then it is Alfa Romeo, Aston Martin, Mercedes and Red Bull. The real interesting action though, in the Drivers' Championship, we've got that battle for first place, and it's also looking pretty close for third as well.
Yeah, as you can see, it is very, very, very close. Only, 14 points separating 3rd to 8th place, so it's anyone's game for that battle as well. I think Kian can secure 3rd place tonight with a podium if he can get that, but I'm sure with how close it is from being throughout the season, that will continue to be close up until the checker flag.
Yeah, so you've got that battle, and of course, you've got that battle for the Drivers' Championship. 9 points between the two of them in Speed Red Matt's favour, and here are the permutations then for that championship. He takes the victory, well, he finishes in the top 4. He takes the championship. That's the simplest method for him. Cam, he finishes outside the top 5. He has no chance of taking this championship, no matter what happens. Now, they've both been very consistent so far this season, especially with what fantastic amount of wins if we get that standings up again. 5 wins, 5 podiums for Red Matt, 5 podiums for Cam. It's expected that they're both going to be near the front, so with the consistency, despite it only being a 9-point gap, it probably is going to be pretty difficult for Cam unless we see something dramatic happen. I
think it shows that consistency really does matter in these leagues, especially when you're competing at the very, very top. And 5 wins, I mean, so far even get towards the end of 5 wins is an amazing job. But as you can see, Cam does have the free drive of the days to his name as well. So definitely impressing on a number of occasions, but can't quite find his way to the front like Speed Matt has, and that's probably why Matt is just on top at the moment.
Yeah, indeed. Well, talk you through the rest of the standings. I mean, you can see them ahead. There is that battle for 3rd place. Kian on 79, Rich 71, Vitinho 67, Thomas also on 67, Rogue 1 point behind on 66, and Dax 1 point behind that on 65. Some of the drivers we're going to mention: Keys, one of the race premium drivers, on 45, ERT Jordan 41, Hoffner 32, Tech and Salty Bear 28 and 24, and Okiki, the final race premium driver, on 12 points. A quick reminder about the point system then: it is 20 points for a win, 17, 14, 12, 10, 8, 6, down to 1 for 12th place, and a point for the fastest lap in the top 10, a point for the fastest lap outside the top 10, and of course another thing that One Hub does quite differently, which could make tonight quite interesting: 2-stop strategy. We should see a lot of exciting racing. The drivers can basically just push it flat out around here, don't have to worry about the tyres.
Yeah, it's a track that is known for its speed and its skill. One small mistake and you're off into one of the gravel traps or one of the walls. It allows great opportunities through the number of chicanes it has here at Imola to, if you get the wrong run through, you're going to be chased up by the car behind. And I think we're going to see an absolute blitz of a race, fast-paced, and that's what Italy's known for across all its circuits, really.
Yeah, certainly. Imola, I think, we'll talk a bit about Imola. First ever hosted a Formula 1 race in 1980 when it was the Italian Grand Prix. The only year in Formula 1 World Championship history that that's not been at Monza. Then had the San Marino Grand Prix for 26 years, and we've been treated, thanks to the COVID-19 pandemic, to two Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix around the Imola circuit. You can see a bit of information there. Anti-clockwise, only one DRS zone. So this strategy could end up being important. It's not the easiest circuit to overtake on, but it will punish any mistakes.
That is very true, especially, like I said earlier, the number of chicanes. We've got 3 or 4, especially through the first, 2 through the first sector, which are fairly high speed, and you've got 2 slower ones with a few very bumpy curves to navigate towards the end of the lap. So it's going to test drivers' skills all around the board, and yeah, I'm looking forward to see if they can do it.
Yeah, certainly are. Looking forward to seeing how the different drivers do tonight. We are just waiting for a few more of them to join the lobby. In terms of strategy, are we thinking... I imagine we're going to see, obviously, because of the 2-stop, you'll see everyone trying to get into the top 10 on a set of the soft tyres. No real value in doing it on the mediums. Do you think it'll be probably, judging by what we're seeing on the screen with the life of the tyres, 2 sets of soft, 1 set of the medium tyres, although there isn't much difference in pace, only about half a second between the medium and the hard. So if you do have to make a couple of pit stops early on, we might see someone try to go a long time on the white wall tyre. Yeah,
it's going to be interesting to see how that pays off, especially if we do get any kind of safety car or virtual safety car, seeing if they do want to take, like you say, tote those C2 tyres a little bit further into the race. But anything can happen. We know that it's racing. Anything can happen at any corner of any lap, and it's got to be, the drivers have got to be ready to try and take advantage of where they're on the track, get that pit stop in at the right window, and take advantage of anything that comes their way. That's definitely the most important thing, I think, tonight, especially at such a chaotic track.
Yeah, certainly. Anything can happen, including the weather, of course. We saw this year's Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix have a bit of a wet race. Who knows, we might get that tonight, and that makes... We've already talked about how this track punishes mistakes. It's not one where you really hear, despite Lando Norris's lap getting deleted in qualifying for track limits, there's not really too much worry about track limits, because quite a lot of the places you run off the circuit, you run into the grass, you run into the gravel, could even be heading towards the tyre wall.
Yeah, and especially with some of the sides of these curbs, we know how deadly they can be if they get the wrong angle into the corner, and especially if it's wet and it's slippery, then some of the drivers are going to struggle, I'm sure. But like we say, anything can happen, any corner, any tyre compound. It's going to be difficult, but I'm sure it's going to be a nice, close, interesting battle to come.
Yeah, certainly. We are just going to be waiting a couple more minutes. There should be plenty of interesting battles across the rest of the tiers as well. We've had the prospect tier earlier on. We've got points that is live right now as well. We've also got coming up soon. We've got the precision tier that'll be live on Twitch at 7:45, and then the pinnacle tier at 8:30 for the final season. Well, the final race of this season of One Hub. You can see the times there. There will still be ACC going, of course, before One Hub goes on for a bit of a break. It'll be interesting to see. When it comes back, because of course by then we'll have a new track added to the game, Jeddah, and judging by the way it looks like in real life, who knows, might be a bit like Vietnam last year. The only way to drive the Jeddah circuit might well be on this game.
Yeah, that is an interesting point you make, because I think everyone was very excited to see the Vietnamese Grand Prix in real life, and unfortunately we never got round to be able to see it. And like you say, Jeddah, it will be coming soon. It's a track that no one's ever seen driven by a professional driver in real life, so everyone's going to be learning the lines through the game. And like you say, as it shapes up in real life, we don't know if we're actually going to see it. So plenty of exciting things to come, not only in the real life F1, but also in the game for people to enjoy as well.
Yeah, certainly. Of course, next year's game will have brand new cars, which will be very exciting for the drivers indeed. A quick reminder then, we'll go back to that championship situation then, just to remind you all that if Red Knight finishes in the top 4, he will end up taking the championship and taking the prize with that. Of course, there is the prizes as well for the top 3 in the championship. We've also got prizes for Go and Get Tough Award, improved drivers who get drivers of the day, prizes for drivers getting the most poles and fastest laps as well. And a lot of drivers, they'll just be wanting to end the season on a high around here. It's a track that a lot of drivers seem to enjoy just because of that high-speed nature, because of the fact that it punishes mistake. It's what drivers seem to want out of a circuit.
Yeah, like you say, it's the last race of the season. People want to go and enjoy themselves. Some people have a few things to, try and prove to themselves, maybe prove to other people. But, it's the last race. Go out there, enjoy yourselves. Maybe not too much to the point where it's maybe going over the line, but we want to see good, fair racing one last time for this season. I'm sure the drivers want to enjoy that as well.
Yeah, certainly. I can tell you, we are not too far away from qualifying whatsoever. It will be the standard 18 minutes of qualifying. No need to worry about any sprint race causing any confusions or grid penalties mixing things up either. And then it will be a 32-lap race. Where do we dare make any predictions for qualifying in the race, not knowing? Obviously, we don't know what the weather's going to be like. We'll have the TAS system live very shortly, and that will give us a quick little hint as to what the weather's going to be like. But we've already said one slight mistake at the start of qualifying, you could find yourself in big trouble. So we might see the times improving like they always do towards the end of the session, but I think drivers around here will probably just take it easy on the first lap, then really go for it in the final 5 minutes.
Yeah, I'm sure the drivers got their fingers crossed in the paddock, waiting for the decision of what the weather is going to be, what they're going to get for the qualifying session, because I know a lot of them are going to want the dry weather to come, as this is a fantastic track to drive out at high speed. But again, like you say, we'll have to wait and see. We're about to find out, I'm sure, and we'll have a verdict on that. But I mean, I've seen something already.
Yeah, we have seen something already, and we're not going to leave you in suspense for too much longer. Ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be a wet start to qualifying. You can see there on the left-hand side, all drivers having to go and use intermediates. It's going to be like this for the entire qualifying. It's going to be overcast for the race as well, but we aren't expecting any rain. There is a 23% chance at the start of the race, so it'd be very unlucky if we do get any. What this does mean is everyone's going to have fresh tyres at the start of the race, so we might see a bit more of a mixture of strategies than what we were expecting.
Yeah, so that puts the softs out the window, like we say, trying to fire those cars up to the top of the qualifying leaderboard on the soft tyres. That is no longer an option. It's intermediates all the way through. I don't think we're going to see any wet tyres throughout this qualifying, as it is only light rain throughout. Still pretty warm, the air temperature, 23 degrees. So it's still going to be quite humid out there. Plenty of heat still on that track, but it's definitely going to spice things up a bit and give, like you say, people a free choice of tyres. So I reckon we might see a lot of medium starters on this race and maybe go for a double soft strategy afterwards, after they've got them off the mediums through the start phase. But yeah, we're about to get underway. A few drivers out on their laps, and lots of different cars out there so far. Got 4 different teams out there, so they're all staggering so far.
Yeah, certainly. It's one thing that we haven't talked about that I just sort of noticed as Kong Hofner was leaving the pits. It is a long pit lane out of this circuit. You lose a lot of time, so 2 stops is compulsory. If you do, of course, get forced to a 3rd pit stop, it's going to probably be bad news for your race.
Yeah, I think it's around 30 seconds lost in the pits, which is above the average, I believe. A minute are lost by doing your pit stops at least. So we'll have to wait and see if that comes into play, or whether we get safety cars or virtual safety cars that allow the cheapest stop. Yeah,
we'll have to see how it goes. On board then with Kong Hofner starting his lap. No very anti-Bassett chicane like they used to be around this circuit, so it is a long run then towards the Tamburello chicane. That's just taking it very steady at the moment, not attacking those curves anywhere near as much as you would be in the dry conditions. Now heading towards the Villeneuve chicane, very short first sector at this part of at this circuit, as he's now heading towards the end of that now, just heading towards the Tozer hairpin. Don't expect to see too many drivers overtake him, but it is easy to make a mistake there, just as Lewis Hamilton in this year's race. Kong Hofner now starting to climb his way up the hill into Pivotello, a very difficult left-hander here. It's deceptively slow. You really want to push there, and that is one of the few places on this circuit where you can invalidate. Now into Aqua Minerale, this double apex right-hander, and you can see there Kong Hofner has invalidated his lap. I doubt he'll be the only driver to end up doing that. So let's go on board with the Ferrari of Apex Rogue. He's a lot further away from the apex of Pivotella than he would like to be. See how he can do then through Aqua Minerale. Very difficult if you haven't got any assists, and there are no assist restrictions in one hub. That part of the circuit is very tricky. It's very tricky on traction as well. Apex Rogue spinning. Drivers really struggling with this circuit so far. On board then with KPP. He's also invalidated his lap. My goodness, it doesn't look like many drivers are going to get a clean run in here on their first laps.
Oh, a lot of them struggling with traction. Obviously, no racing line dug into that wet surface so far. So I think they're going to take it easy for the first few laps, even if that means putting in a slower lap than you'd want to. Just get a lap time on the board, give yourself a delta to work off, and then see. As we see, a Mercedes nearly pull it into the wall. Salty Bear there struggling as he runs up towards Sector 3. So definitely tricky conditions out there.
Yeah, definitely still the cleanest run we've seen from anyone so far, which sounds quite amazing. On board then with Rich, as Cam came on, actually did miss his lap in all of that chaos. He's gone fastest on a 1:24.765, quite a way off what you would expect in the dry conditions. We're all on board with Rich then in the Aston Martin. He's about a second down on Cam's time in the first sector, now coming up towards Variante Alta, a very tricky chicane, and Rich treating that with kid gloves. Doesn't want to hit the curbs because many a driver has found themselves spat off towards that wall on the right-hand side. Now into Rivazza, double apex left-hander might provide an overtaking opportunity if the driver ahead of you has made a mistake into that Variante Alta, and it's all about getting a good exit through Rivazza onto the throttle, pit entry on the right-hand side, and Rich, he's going to go across the line, 1:26.263. So Cam and Salty Bear, the fastest drivers at the moment. The one we're going to watch out for, though, of course, is Speed Red Matt. He's currently almost bang on equal with his championship rival, but just cut the chicane too much. He has invalidated.
There's a good end to lap there as well from Willow. Got a nice drive at the final corner, which a few drivers had struggled with previously, and that's why he is 3 attempts clear at the moment. Looking good so far for Willow there.
Yeah, Willow not doing bad whatsoever at the moment in this qualifying. He is fairly new to the league and is down at the bottom of the championship at the moment without any points. So, again, the driver not with anything to fight for as Cam goes even faster, I should say, on his second run, 1:24.266. And we are just seeing this from the TAS system. You can use exclamation mark help to get some extra information about some of the cars. They've got quite a lot of fuel in, which is, of course, common to the wet conditions, as we've lost one of the Haas cars. That is KPP's had a big accident on the exit of Tamburello.
Yep, as looks like Kian's coming through there now. He's got to be very careful. That car that's just popped off, that might have distracted him ever so slightly as the yellow flags change to green flags as he goes past the accident. But yeah, KPP not managing to set a lap time, and he will be towards the back of the field come lights out. Well, that's not good for him, and he won't be best pleased with that one.
No, he won't. Red Matt's trying to now set a valid lap time. Only 5 drivers have done that so far, and Apex Rogue, one of them, made a massive mistake on it. As you can see, he's attacking the chicane a lot more there at Variante Alta than what we saw Rich do earlier on. This is looking like a very good lap from Speed Matt. He's about 0.6 of a second up on Cam at the moment, so should be the first driver in the 123s. Keeps it nice and clean through the first part of Rivazza. Gets over the curb quite a lot of a second, though. That's cost him plenty of time, I think, in the Alfa Tauri. Has it cost him enough? No, in the end, still goes fastest, 1:23.9, but definitely could find, I'd say, about half a second in that final corner alone.
Yeah, definitely. Like we say, we saw it being very slippery for a few drivers, not just there, but pretty much every corner you could see a car slipping and sliding on exit. But yeah, like you say, could easily find a couple of attempts through there, but it shows he's still got the pace. As Salty Bear goes to a 23.8 and puts himself on pole position for now. So yeah, still showing that there's plenty of lap time left in his track with 10 minutes to go.
Yeah, Keys goes up into 4th place, 1:24.277. So not bad from him. Times are starting to, close up ever so slightly. We've seen a few invalidate multiple laps. Vitinho, one of them. A reminder, he is part of AlphaTauri, who have won the Constructors' Championship. 1 win and 1 podium so far this season. 67 points, but is still on that battle with Kian, Rich, himself, Thomas, unable to make it tonight, Rogue and Dax, all there. As that is now, we've lost another car, and that looks like that is Will on the exit of Rivazza.
Yeah, maybe dipping a tyre on the outside gravel there. We've seen it happen in the real cars as well, and this time you can see it's cost him not only the lap, but also his chance to improve on 5th place in his qualifying session, as it looks like Vitinho is coming past. No, sorry, it's the other AlphaTauri that's coming past there. But yeah, another one out the race and struggling in these conditions. Not looking good so far for a few drivers.
No, quite a few drivers finding it tough. Kian, he's invalidated again on this lap. Would have been good enough for 1:24.0. Would have put him up into 3rd position. We are seeing a few more cars now coming to the pits. Might as well put on a fresh set of the intermediate tyres. They don't lose life as much as a set of the slick tyres, but of course they will want to be doing better As the session goes on, Jordan, he's trying to set his first run at the moment. 27.4, 29.5 through the first couple of sectors, puts him about a second off of Salty Bear's time at the moment. Salty Bear fastest in Sector 1 and Sector 3. Speed Red Mat fastest in Sector 2 at the moment. Jordan just taking it steady through those final couple of corners. Wants to get himself on a valid time. This could sort of put him just ahead of Harley, you'd imagine. And in the end, he does drop just behind Harley. 125.3 for the, I believe, Seoul Alpine driver tonight. Kong Hofner, he's just coming through that very anti-outer chicane now. A lot of drivers struggling, which is, I mean, what we expected him to drive for this to be a tricky circuit. This little bit of damp conditions just makes it a bit more tricky.
Yeah, I think we may have slapped it with the old commentator's curse and our little build up there, talking. We almost forgot about the weather until you brought it up, and then yeah, I think we may have cursed it ever so slightly there. And the weather's out. But it's the same for everyone. That's what you've got to remember. People may not like it, but it is the same for every single driver on the track. They're in the same conditions, in the same equal cars, of course, and all looking to try and put themselves up the leaderboard. As Kian goes just behind Zoe Burn to P2, 600th of a second separates them. So lap times are coming in, and they're coming in closely.
Yeah, they are. They're starting to come in thick and fast now, so that's a good lap from Kian. Fourth lap on that set of intermediates. I think we would see him come into the pits. Vitinho's improving ever so slightly, whether he's going to choose to come into the pit lane to get a fresh set, because he's only up by a few hundredths of a second coming through Sector 2, but he now heads towards the finish line, decides to carry on, and does improve his time by 600ths of a second. Keeps him in 12th position for now. Jordan's finding some big improvements here. He's about 7 tenths up on his personal best, so this should get him at least ahead of Harley, maybe a tiny bit higher. And there we go, jumps ahead of Will, jumps ahead of Kong Hofner and Dax as well. So row 3 of the grid at the moment for Jordan, a 124.3. Cam out on a fresh set of tyres, 7 tenths up through the middle sector.
Absolutely flying as he comes around the final couple of corners. He's looking to improve, looking to put himself towards pole position. He's going to need it if he's going to want to challenge at the front to get this title away from his rival, and he does so at 23.5, 3 attempts clear. We said they're coming in thick and fast, and that is definitely fastest of the day so far. Great lap from Cam.
Yeah, not actually the fastest in the first sector. That was Salty Bear, but that is currently being held by Jordan. He's really starting to fly all of a sudden. I think you see this obviously in the intermediates. You've got to learn what the track is like. It's not dry conditions. It's all fairly similar on the game, depending on how wet the circuit is. Depends how much grip you've got. So no surprise that it's taken him a few laps to get bedded in. Not even a personal best though in the middle sector, but could definitely get himself into the 123s onto the top 2 rows of the grid at the moment. Cam, Salty Bear, Kian, Speed Redmat and Keys, your top 5 drivers with a third of the session remaining. So just follow Jordan round the final couple of corners out of Ravanza, heading towards the finish line. No DRS, of course, in these conditions. In the end, he only moves up 1 place into 5th. Redmat, he goes fastest of everyone in the first sector, quarter of a second up. He knows he's just got to match what Cam does. He doesn't have to really take any risks. A top 4 finish would be good enough. He wants to end the season, though, I imagine, on a victory.
Yeah, of course. He's a racer at heart. All these drivers want to do the very best they can, and if he can sign it off in style, that is exactly what he's going to want to do. As he goes very wide there and nearly loses the rear end, so he's going to lose a lot of time as he ends his Sector 2. He's still a 10th up, but that's not going to be challenging for pole position. Slight mistake there. It's going to cost him. With only, well, a small part of this qualifying session left to go. 5 minutes. He should have time to go round again if he does choose to. But yeah, slight mistake there, and that's probably cost him a chance to go for pole position unless he gets the final few corners right.
Yeah, I can't see this lap being good enough then for pole position. Redbat heads towards the finish line. Does still improve, but only in the end up to second in place by 100th of a second. So despite what seemed like quite a big mistake in the middle sector, he's still looking extremely fast indeed. Rogue comes towards the line. He gets himself up into 11th place. We're seeing some improvements from other drivers. Salty Bear slightly faster than his personal best in the middle sector, so he might just consolidate his hop on 3rd place. In the end, does more than that. Goes fastest of everyone. 123.508. Fantastic final sector from the Mercedes driver. He takes P1, and he could definitely be getting in the mix with those top 2 drivers, which I'm not sure if that's going to help or hinder Cam's chances of the championship.
I mean, like we were saying previously, everyone wants to win. It's the last race of the season. Why not give it all you've got, fire yourself to the top? And, well, I think what we're seeing is that last sector is drying up. It is in its peak condition. And we're seeing people gain time for it every lap, it seems. So if people can get in a lap within the last 3 minutes or so, expect new purple laps to be set in the final part of this qualifying session. It's going to be good.
Yeah, I do wonder whether we'll have any drivers just starting to head out on circuit on a fresher set of intermediate tyres. Kong Hofner did briefly in the pits show a set of dries, but as you can see, there is still a few drops of rain as we're on board with Vitinho. Very surprised he hasn't come in. This is his 7th lap on that set of the intermediate, so I think we will be seeing coming into the pits this time around. So 3 minutes 20 seconds to go. No one improving at the moment. Most of the drivers in the pit lane getting ready for that final assault on the session. Salty Bear, Cam, Speed Red Matt, Kian and Jordan, your top 5 at the moment. Jordan just starting to head out of the pit lane, and Cam, you could ideally do with starting on pole position and getting a good start to this race. It is a long DRS zone, but barring any mistakes, you're going to need that DRS to try and get the overtake done into Tamburello. With that, it's possible, but still, you are going to have to rely on mistakes from other people. This is going to be a crucial final 2.5 minutes of qualifying.
Yeah, and just noticing Rich in the pit lane has put the soft tyres on. So whether he's going to try and go out on them, we'll have to wait and see. It could be a slight stroke of genius, but the rain is still coming down. Still lots of spray coming off those cars. So I think that is a gamble that probably won't pay off at this time, as we see Cam go for another flying lap on those 4-lap-old intermediate tyres, and still feels like they're the right tyre. But yeah, there's a soft tyre runner in shape of Rich in the pit lane. Be interesting to see if he does go for that decision. That is an interesting one.
Yeah, that'd be a brave call, I think, at this moment in time. Cam heads around he's actually 4 tenths down. That's, I think, fairly straightforward to say that has been the wrong call. Someone is making the right call at the moment. You can just briefly see there, Salty Bear, 6 tenths of a second up on his personal best. This is going to absolutely smash the pole position time if he can just get it right through the final couple of corners, through the first part of Ravata, through the second part, onto the throttle. Are we going to see Salty Bear manage to get his way into the 1 minute 22s? Indeed we are. 1:22.841. That shows how much pace is available on this circuit.
Yeah, the cars are absolutely flying around now. We knew it would happen, as the light rain was only going to continue. It wasn't going to get heavier. It was just going to stay light rain. And the intermediate tyres clearly working, as Rich has taken a decision to go out on the soft tyres. So wait and see how that unfolds. Could be a surprise if he can stick that up towards the top. But yeah, the track is improving now. We're going to see some absolute flying laps as they're out now, ready to get those laps underway. Let's see who can try and challenge Salty Bear at the top, who currently sits 7 tenths of a second clear.
Yeah, Cam's heading on to his final run, and he's going to encounter a lot of traffic with drivers going on outlaps. Kong Hoffner's retired from the session. Again, that's, I think, another car losing it out of Tamburello. It is going to be interesting to see how Rich does on his run. It's still raining, so I can't see this being the right choice, as Kong's car rather unhelpfully just kind of parked in the middle of the track at the moment. We're not seeing any dramatic improvements. Jordan's, you can see there, just 4 thousandths up on his personal best, so he's going to need a mighty final couple of corners if he wants to get into the top 4 of the grid. The Alpine heads towards the finish line. Does improve ever so slightly in the final sector, but not by enough. Cam, Kian, Keys all improving in that part of the circuit. As a driver who's not improving is Rich on the soft tyres, no front wing. Not really sure. I mean, obviously the game tells you sort of what the delta is between the tyres, but I think from the visibility it was pretty obvious with the rain falling. It was always still going to be intermediates at the end. Yeah,
I think it was a gamble he tried to take, which hasn't really paid off, like we both thought, like probably everyone thought, maybe even himself. Cam, though, who was improving, has invalidated his lap, so he's not going to improve on P2. Just got to hope Red Matt can't improve, but he is slightly up on his time, and if he improves by the amount he is so far through Sector 1, he will just jump above his championship rival and onto the front row.
Someone else might jump onto the front row as well. Kian goes fastest. In fact, DRS has been enabled, so...
Oh, goodness me.
Maybe we were a bit harsh with Rich. Maybe it was only a lap or 2 away from being on a set of tyres. And if it had been 20-25 minute session, who knows? But have the drivers just peak their tyres. Speed Red Matt, he's invalidated his lap. We've got Rogan Vitinho on laps as well. Vitinho, of course, hasn't done a lap on a fresh set of tyres for quite a while, so he could jump a long way up the order. Slowest of everyone. KPP didn't set a time. Okiki didn't set a time. Vitinho, DRS isn't really going to help you here, of course, because the finish line is so early on the straight. You're not going to get too much of a speed advantage, but he is going to be able to use it as he heads towards the finish line. Where can Vitinho put his Alpha Tauri? Moves himself up into 13th. Rogue, another one who's improving. He's having some issues with his brake pedal. He could really get himself a long way up the order at the moment. 6 tenths up on his previous best. Heads around the final corner. Where's the Ferrari going to go? He gets himself up into 7th place, but it is Salty Bear then on pole position by quite a margin. 6 tenths of a second. Kian in second. Cam is in third. He's got his championship rival and the championship leader right behind him.
Yeah, absolute stellar lap from Salty Bear. Just purple in all 3 sectors, hooked that lap up extremely nicely. And like you say, we have got an exciting race to unfold in front of our eyes. And, well, the top 2 in the championship only managing the second row. 2 people ahead of them getting it right. But look how close their split times are. Very, very close all the way through the field. And, well, that just sums up this championship so far. And you can see how close it is from the standings. This is going to be good, I think.
Yeah, this is going to be good. You can see there, Salty Bear on top by over 6 tenths of a second, less than a tenth. Separating Kian, Cam and Speed Redmat, second, third and fourth. Jordan, Keys, Rogue, Will, despite his crashes, 8. Kong Hoffner and Dax rounding out the top 10. Rich, Vitinho and Harley with the final drivers to set a time. KPP crashed out. And unfortunately, it looks like Kokiki is unable to get back into the session after disconnecting earlier on. We've seen what the drivers can do on a damp track. We kind of got an impression of what they could do on a drying track. We are expecting a dry race, of course. 32 laps, 2 stops, fresh sets of tyres, and we've already seen plenty of mistakes. I think we could see a bit of a surprise if we get through this race without at least one VSC or even full safety car.
Yeah, it's proven. It's a proven track to be difficult for every driver. Even a top end of any division is going to be difficult, especially in the conditions we just saw in the intermediates. Luckily, the drivers don't have to face that in the race at all, and it's just down to them to try and keep it clean, but also enjoy themselves and give us a good race, a good spectacle to watch along for the final time this season. Let's hope it's going to be an amazing race because it is set up perfectly. It's on a knife point. Let's just see if it lives up to the hype it's been getting.
Yeah, if you do want to see some of the more top-end drivers, even no disrespect to the podium drivers, they would absolutely wipe the floor with me. We have got Precision Tier just starting in a few minutes over on Twitch and Pinnacle later on, but you've seen how close things are at the moment. Why would you want to leave this championship decider? Oh, at the moment, Speed Red Matt, 9 points ahead of Cam K Mom. If they finish how they start, he will claim, well, Red Matt will claim first, Cam would claim second, and Kian would consolidate that hold on 3rd place in the championship. And as I just quickly check the standings, Kian starting in 2nd place, and we've also got the over the Mercedes as well. It's a good chance for Kian here to claim his first race win of the season, perhaps.
Yeah, he's in a great place. Front row, had a fantastic lap, best of the rest, apart from Salty Bear, who obviously put in that stellar lap, but still top of the pile of everyone else who was so close to one another. And why not go for it? Why not go out with a bang? He's got everything on his side at the moment. He'll have a nice toe down towards turn 1 as well. So let's not write him out of this race at all. He's definitely in a good place and on the soft tyres at the start of this race too.
Yeah, let's not write anyone out then. They're all going to want to go out with a bang around the Imola circuit. The Autodromo Enzo Edino Ferrari. 3.05 miles, 19 corners, the 1 DRS zone down towards Tamburello, where we will see the majority of the overtaking as we take a look at the tyres that everyone is on. Quite a mixture throughout the field. 6 out of the 15 on a set of the medium tyres, and importantly for the championship, Cam's gone mediums, Red Matt's gone softs.
Yeah, there's something. Well, obviously they don't have a clue what they're going to choose until they form up on the grid, and they've gone different ways. Interesting to see the 3 of the top 4 are on the softs, so it'd be interesting to see if Red Matt can take advantage of those soft tyres early on, try and get past Cam, but I don't think Cam's going to try and make it easy for him at all. Yeah, it's a matter of risk over reward. Do you want to take those first tyres longer and have the faster tyres in the middle and at the end of the race? It's going to be able to. We're going to see if it's going to pay off for the medium runner. But they're forming up on the grid now, and just about to find out.
Yeah, we are going to find out. Of course, that long run down towards turn 1 could be in the favour of Red Matt on the soft tyres. We might even see some wheel banging between the two title contenders. Now, where have we seen that at the Imola circuit so far this season in 2021? Cam on the mediums, Red Matt pulling into the grid now on his set of the soft tyres. The final few cars coming in. Okiki, I don't think it's going to be able to get back into the session, so we've only got 14 runners then for the final race of the season. They're all in place, and we wait for the lights to come on here at Imola. We're still on, just waiting. There we go. We have got 5 red lights. We're underway then, not a long hold whatsoever. The Emilia Romagna Grand Prix is underway, and Red Matt's got an absolutely fantastic start. It's Kian there, who struggled slightly from second place on the grid, but it is Salty Bear in the lead. Kian and Red Matt are going to go side by side through Tamburello, over the curb and round. Championship leader facing the wrong way at the back of the field. He's going to have to do a comeback right from the back. Salty Bear leads, Kian in second, Cam holds on into third place. Willie's up to 4th. He's had a fantastic start. Jordan is 5th, and an absolute disaster for our championship leader. We'll just quickly check for TAS system. He hasn't got any damage. He's going to have to do this the hard way, though.
Yeah, not the start he would have wanted at all. He will be, well, I'm not sure if there's contact or not. Didn't quite see it from the angle I got. But he will not be happy with that. Finds himself now 4.6 seconds off the back of the rest of the field, and he's got to try and find his way back now, claw into the back. He's definitely got the pace. We've seen that, and they've seen it all season long. It's just a matter of whether he can produce it now, as the other AlphaTauri gets squeezed over the curb there, and round goes KPP. So there's one position back for Speed Matt, and there's a few collisions on this opening lap. And the AI car of Okiki is getting in the way somewhat. I'm not sure if it's unsettling a few drivers, but it is there amongst the pack.
Yeah, it is. No surprise then. The top 2 absolutely streaking away on those sets of soft tyres. And I'll tell you what, Will's doing a fantastic job on hanging on to the back of Cam at this moment in time. You think when the DRS has got activated, Cam could be under a bit of pressure as Kong Hoffner gets past Kiesen into 8th position for the Mercedes drivers. The other one leads the race. KPP is into the pits. Did have some front wing damage, and on this game, any sort of front wing damage is absolutely fatal to your car's performance. He's gone onto a set of mediums, and it may well be medium. I think he started on the soft until the end of the race for him. But with the compulsory 2 stop, doesn't mean he's out of things just yet. Back towards the leaders, though. It's now actually Kian into the lead of the race. Salty Bear is in second place, and Cam just going to try and hold on to that. Oh, he's round as well. He's round. Oh, unbelievable. That's both top 2 in the championship have had spins in the first 2 laps.
Yeah, I think there was a collision there with Willu. Just saw them both back round at the same corner. Unless one actions led to the other one spinning round as well. Doesn't look like Cam has any damage, and no, he doesn't. But Willu does. He has damage to his front right wing and struggling, as you see at the exit of the corner. But now the championship rivals are down in 12th and 13th place.
What? I don't think I've ever seen a situation where both championship rivals have had such a terrible start to a race. DRS has been enabled. They'll be able to use it next time around, of course, because the detection point is before the start-finish line. Red Matt gets himself, well, he's already effectively in 11th, as Okiki is an AI car, and that AI car is causing plenty of problems at the moment. But there goes Red Matt up into 11th. Would get himself 2 points for that, and now Cam, he's got to try and work his way in the field. Just needs to keep his head down. He, of course, is going long, we expect, on these medium tyres, and then try to fly on softs at the end. And who knows, that fastest lap point could be crucial at the end. What all this has done, though, top 2 now have got an absolutely massive chasm to the cars behind. 3 seconds clear of Rogue. We're only on the 3rd lap of the race.
Yeah, just working together here, the front 2, not battling each other too hard. We've already seen what happens when 2 drivers battle each other, as Salty Bear nearly gets spins his car around there, but they are doing a fantastic job of pulling away. Gap slightly drops now to the cars behind. They're just trying to find their feet in this race. But yeah, Kian doing what he needs to do to try and secure that 3rd place in the championship.
Yeah, he is. DRS open then on Salty Bear's car at the moment. Kian, he only needs a podium to get that 3rd place in the championship. You can see the effectiveness of the DRS here. I don't think Salty Bear, unless he tries to move around the around the outside. I thought we were going to have a bit of a Bottas-Russell moment there. They got very close together. Further back, Dax has managed to get ahead of Jordan. He is up into 4th place. We've seen a few more changes down the field, partly because we've seen some pit stops. That is Will, who's, of course, had to come into the pits, and Vitinho is in as well. Oh, Rogue! Out of the race. He's lost it coming through, that's coming through Villeneuve, and that is a full safety car.
Oh, that completely resets the field, allows those who have pitted early on in this race to just get a second chance to rejoin the back of the field. And, well, we've had it all at the start of this race. We've had spins, we've had crashes, and now the safety car's out, and APX Rogue out of the race, and was absolutely flying on that lap as well. 2 faster sectors, so pushing extremely quickly, and just getting the wrong line through turns 4 and 5, and well, now he's out of the race, and it's going to be a stalemate again, and we're going to get ready to go again in a couple of laps' time. This is going to be interesting to see how this restart happens.
Yeah, I think this safety car, I think, definitely favours those who started on a set of the soft tyres, I would say at the moment, and we'll see whether any of the leaders do come into the pits. And there we go, Kian comes in, Salty Bear decides to stay out, so Salty Bear back into the lead of the race, and it looks like in fact the majority of the field are coming in. We'll see if anyone else decides to stay out that tiny bit longer. I think Okiki, his AI car will be staying out, and that's going to cause some confusion on the restart, but it looks at the moment as though it is only Salty Bear, and obviously I think those that have already pitted, that are staying out on the circuit. So Mercedes on his own behind the Mercedes safety car at the moment. Okiki, if I was him, I'd be desperately trying now to get back into the session. Wouldn't be bad at all getting yourself up into second. But we've seen the rest of the field come into the pits, and Jordan going for a set of hard tyres. I did not expect to see them this early on in the race.
No, we mentioned it in qualifying about whether there is the possibility of, if there is an early safety car, if you do get early damage, to go onto those hard, take them a long way into the race. So he's going to try something different. He is trying something completely different to everyone else. Everyone either on the yellow or the red stripe tyres that they've got onto them. Majority medium tyres on the cars at the moment. But yeah, the hard tyres, an interesting shout, but as we know, they can go into the race, but will be very difficult on this restart. We haven't had much racing on the track. The track is not going to be in its prime. And neither are those tyres on this restart. So he's going to probably, I expect, drop a few positions, but they'll come back to him later on.
Yeah, one man who I think is going to be very interesting to watch on this restart is the lead car on a set of fresh, soft tyres. Cam came on, started third on the grid, didn't have the greatest of starts, saw his championship rival spin on lap 1, was spun himself on lap 2. He's now right behind Red Matt on a set of the soft. Red Matt's on the set of the medium tyres, opposite tyres to what they started the race on. We've already seen how much different that could make, and depending on how early you go on the restart here, because it is going to be quite tricky, you do not want to give anyone a lovely slipstream all the way down to Tamburello, because we've already seen it can be quite interesting as Salty Bear. Now, he comes into the pits as well, and we're seeing a few other cars, I think, come in. Are we going to see drivers now maybe put on a set of hard tyres, or even bet on a set of mediums and try to get to the end of this race?
Well, it seems like that might be the case for a few. Not everyone going for that strategy has obviously still got a chance of another safety car later on. And I think the right strategy is probably to stay out there on the tyres you just fitted. But a few drivers feeling it's the right call. And onto the hards go Key and Kong. And mediums for Salty Bear. But yeah, everyone going to be on fresh tyres bar a few. The only problem we've got now is that Okiki, the AI car, will be getting us underway on our restart.
That is genuinely, I've commentated on F1 games since 2018. I don't think I've ever had a situation where the AI car has been the lead one. So this could cause ourselves a bit of drama. Of course, for Kian, that's an ideal situation to be in, because you're sort of, well, maybe you're the lead human car at the moment. You might get yourself a bit of a slipstream and you don't have to worry too much about the cars behind you. So this is going to be an interesting one. Jordan, 4th on those hard tyres. I think I'm going to have to agree. I don't think I'd have wanted to come in at that point. We said already, it's 30 seconds you lose in the pits. It is an incredible pit loss, and there is, at the end of this lap, 26 laps remaining, but surely you'd be better, I think if you had the choice to go soft, obviously you would be better doing that, but I think even medium soft could work out to be the one, because Keys and Kong Hoffner, I would expect to drop off the back of this train and find themselves outside of DRS zone by the time it is being reactivated. But the safety car is coming in. We're now in the hands of the gods for when this safety car restart is going to happen. But Okiki's AI seems to be leaving it quite close to the safety car for when he's going to go for it. I suppose it should be a bit more predictable than some of the others. And there we go. We are going to go back to green flag action then. Okiki's AI leading us away, and I think straight away we are going to see him getting overtaken by Kian. And Jordan has actually had a pretty decent restart, and the championship leaders going side by side into turn 1. Cam came on the outside in the end. Has to back off as, we've seen that's Dax who's had a massive moment. Jordan's managed to get through, and Red Matt's into the back of the Haas.
Damage for Red Matt then. Damage for Red Matt. So the championship leader got damage on that front wing. As it nearly goes round, as a Harley goes round at the back of the Red Bull, he's into the wall. We might have another virtual safety car here. In fact, the driver's gone past the area, but it's damage for Red Matt then in 5th place. He has wing damage. Will that cause him enough time to think about pitting again? But he's definitely struggling, as you can see his teammate just trying to defend from cars behind, and they're all going past him now. It's not looking good for the championship leader.
No, well, the actual start of the race was a disaster for Red Matt, and now the restart of the race has been a disaster. He is going to come into the pit. Hard tyres, though, we think are going to get you to the end from here, and you can see he's just trying to stay out the way. He's tapped KPP. That could be an interesting one in the stewards. I think, to be fair, he tried his best to stay out of the way in that one. It was always going to be very difficult. KPP, again, another driver having a very difficult first lap after both the restart and the actual start. And Okiki's car, his AI, is still leading this race, but it's Kian in the actual lead. Jordan in a net 2nd place then, on a set of the hard tyres. They're not as bad as we thought they were going to be.
No, he's made those work for him. I'm not sure if maybe instance around have helped him out, but he absolutely flew on the restart. So even though it was a gentle restart from the AI car of Okiki, who seems to be having great pace here, so the AI looking very good. But yeah, Jordan looking good on those hard tyres. Got a nice gap behind him as well now, and sticking to Kian, still currently within the DRS margin when that gets re-enabled. So he's doing well at the moment.
Sorry to interrupt. Cam and Vitinho getting very close on the exit of Tozer there. Cam tried to go around the outside, and Vitinho gave him the squeeze ever so slightly. Cam ends up on the grass, and from possibly gaining 1 position, all of a sudden ends up losing 2 positions. So this has been quite a dramatic championship finale. We're only a quarter of the way through the race at the moment. Salty Bear's now made a slight mistake coming out of the final part of Aqua Minolari, and Cam, and now Salty Bear's almost round through Variante Outer. Off the circuit he goes, and that is 1 place gained back for Cam. This is quite a dramatic moment. If things stayed as they are, Red Matt would still take the championship victory. Cam would need to get into the top 5, but I don't think we're going to be able to sensibly call what could happen here until the final couple of laps, with ways things are going. At the moment, we've seen all sorts of drama. As we enter lap 9, DRS has been re-enabled.
Yep, as Kian still can't quite get past the AI of Okiki at the front, even with DRS down through turns 1 and down towards 2 and 3. Jordan hanging on the back, just pulling the gap even more with the DRS help from the cars behind. But yeah, it's shaping up the way Cam would have wanted it, but at the moment can't quite get those softs going, and needs to make the most of them while they still last. And Kian's finally got past Okiki here, trying to get past.
Yeah, and it's, even though of course AI cars are ghosted, it is a little distraction that you could probably do without when you're going to have a Ferrari dipping in and out of your view every now and then. But Kian back into the actual lead of this race. His top 2 drivers are just trying to get away at the moment. Dax is just dropping outside of the DRS range. Of course, he had that wobble through Tamburello that caught out Speed Red Matt, that Corsa championship leader, to go into the back of him and need a front wing change. He is now back out on a set of the medium tyres, and we're trying to stretch them, I imagine, until the end of the race. And you can see he has made his 2 compulsory pit stops, as has Kong Hofner, as has Harley. So maybe watch out for Kong. Those hards, like we said, doing better than we expected. He's 11 seconds off the lead at the moment, but with about 30 seconds for a pit stop, it's not too bad of a situation to be in, as we are on to lap 10 of the race. And you know what? Cam, he's used up all his ERS here, and he's actually drops outside the DRS range of those in front, and you can see Salty Bear just streaks around the outside of him.
It's an interesting call here. He doesn't have damage. He's on the predicted fast compound of tyre, and slightly struggling here. Maybe looking more towards qualifying here. He may have run a bit more downforce to help with that qualifying session. Either way, it's proving slightly costly, as he, like you say, got past very easily there while Salty Bear down the main straight.
Yeah, I think he could do with trying to just hang on to the back of Salty Bear. we saw had extreme pace in qualifying. But Cam, I know it says he's got no damage. I wonder if he's got some flawed diffuser side pod damage that we can't see on the task system, because that car looks an absolute handful through some of these corners at this moment in time. Just needs to save a bit of ERS, otherwise he's going to find it very difficult to overtake, especially now that he is stuck in this tiny bit of a DRS train and might have to start watching out for some of the cars a bit further back than him. He is really close to the back of Salty Bear, who's put a wheel on the dirt coming out of Rivatsa, so is this going to be the chance then? But Cam came on to get a move. The Mercedes, of course, does have the DRS, and you can see Cam with the slipstream, with the DRS, not got a lot of ERS, not able to make a lot of inroads into that position. Back out in front, though, it is Kian still in the lead, Jordan in second, Daxers in third place. And if Kian stays here, will claim that third place in the championship and his first victory.
Yep, doing what he needs to do, as again, Cam runs really wide across the gravel there on the exit of the chicane. Although we did say it's fast as Sector 1 there, apparently, despite being off the track. But yeah, he's really struggling, and look, nearly out of DRS range of cars ahead of him. So he's struggling. Kian doing exactly what he needs to do at the front. And, well, some people's races are going exactly how they want them. Others, not quite, as Vitinho nearly loses the rear end through there and gets a 3-second penalty for that. That one must have been very scary for him.
Yeah, and that might actually end up costing him that slight little moment, because you can see he's just dipped outside of the DRS range of Will, starting to use a bit of ERS to try and get back within it. This is where we're starting to see the main things as, oh, KPP has retired. That is out of Aquaminavale, and that is another safety car, and I think we're now going to see a lot of drivers come in and maybe put mediums on towards the end.
Well, interestingly enough, the front three have all missed the pit lane there. Everyone else managed just to catch it. So that's going to put some of the drivers completely out of sync and undo all their hard work at the front. Into the pit comes the AI as well of Akiki, so that might allow some of the drivers to get past as he goes onto soft tyres as well. So that's going to put him completely out of the race by the time he has to pit again later on. So no need to worry about the AI too much now. I'm seeing a few more soft tyres going on as well. Cam onto the soft tyres. That's an interesting call.
Now, all the information earlier on said softs would last about 30 laps. Cam's going to have to take them 21. A few of them are going to be under the safety car, but that is either an extremely aggressive strategy where he's hoping to just fly his way along, or did he have a tiny bit of damage that we couldn't see? Because he has dropped quite... Well, he's not dropped too far back, so not quite sure what would have happened there. Konghoffner's coming to put on a set of mediums. Speed Red Matt's back on his original set of the medium tyres, but I think he started the race on, so should still be able to get to the end on those, but probably not the worst tyre to be on whatsoever at the moment. And Kian, he missed the pit lane because he'd gone past it, but he's stuck behind the safety car. So this is bad news for him, bad news for Jordan, bad news for Daxers. And Key is now, let's not forget, he's done his 2 stops, so he can carry on towards the end if he wants to. And Will, another driver who's also done those 2 stops. These two, it depends how well they can hold off the hards from those cars on the faster tyres behind them. Not necessarily Okiki, but you say Salty Bear, Cam, Rich, Kong, once they start working their way up.
Yeah, so we questioned the decision for the hards earlier on, but it seems like it's paid off. And yeah, doing well to stay near the front. They've got to be hard runners behind them. Got to watch out for, like you say, some of the softer runners and, well, softer compound tyres behind. Someone has just pitted here. I think Jordan has gone into the pits like on the hard tyres. So he's pitting. He feels like he can get onto the mediums, like he does so. And but he's going to drop a fair way down. So doesn't think those hard tyres are going to be good enough towards the end of this race, and onto the medium to go.
Yeah, to be honest, I can't really blame him for that one. He has lost quite a bit of track position, but I'd expect the soft runners to have to pit, and we've already seen you can manage to make overtakes. I have to say I found it a bit easier than the drivers thought it would do around here to make the overtakes happen. Does drop down into 7th place. Rich has also come in. He's onto a set of mediums, so he's into 11th, and this race just takes another swing, of course. Kian in the lead. He qualified in 2nd place, was in the lead earlier on, despite nearly dropping down to 3rd on the start. I think it was actually him and Redmat just had slight wheel banging, similar to what Hamilton and Verstappen did at this race all the way back at the start of this year's F1 season. But the physics on this game just meant the car on the inside, Redmat, was sent spinning around. He dropped down the order, had an incident after the first safety car as well. He'll be hoping this time he can have a nice clean restart. He's in 12th place, and as things stand, that still would be enough to give him the championship.
Yeah, he's hanging on. He's still where he needs to be. But Cam on new set of sauce, which, like you said earlier, is not going to go to the end unless he pulls out some kind of masterclass on tyre saving here. Doesn't look like we're getting started now. I'm going to be another lap behind the safety car, so that's going to play into anyone's hands. I'm going to try and take those tyres a little bit longer, give them a bit more life. But yeah, this is going to be an interesting battle, especially with Cam in 8th place. Going to get the position to Okiki, of course, who's in AI, so we've got to take that into consideration. It's going to bump everyone up 1 place. But yeah, we've got to just keep an eye on how these tyres perform and keep an eye on if whether Cam does have any damage that we can't see. Expect him on those new soft tyres to be able to fly through the field, but he hasn't been able to prove that earlier on, so we have to wait and see if that comes to anything and whether he does actually have damage at all.
Yeah, certainly, and like you said, maybe going for a bit more of a, just trying to go for it in qualifying, expecting that in the race it would be hard for cars to overtake him, but it hasn't quite worked out that way with the various safety cars keeping the packs close together, because he looked like the pace man in the early parts of the qualifying session and wasn't quite on it as much as the circuit started to dry out towards the end. So there could definitely be some in that. Maybe did go for a bit more of a dry setup, but here's a lead car on a set of the soft tyres. Salty Bear's a lead car on a fresher set of the mediums. As we check the pit stops there, you can see it's just the top 2 at the moment that have to make that second compulsory pit stop, and I imagine they're hoping for another safety car in this race. Otherwise, we've already spoke, 30-second pit loss. Going to be extremely hard for Kian and Daxers to come out of, and could well spoil their chances of third in the championship. Yeah,
like I was saying earlier on with when we speak about the compulsory 2-stop strategy, you've got to be in the right place at the right time. Some of it's luck, some of it's about picking the right time to go to the pits, but I think they were very unlucky there to be exactly where they are when the safety car came out. Top 3 getting caught out, and yeah, it's just proven it could cost them vital points that they were doing this race, but safety car's in this lap, and we're about to get underway again.
Yeah, safety car into the pits then on this lap. Kia now leading the cars away. When is he going to put the hammer down? We saw obviously the AI of Okiki left it quite late to sort of go for it here, and I think actually coming halfway through the Vivatsa, Kian has decided to go, and I think he's caught some of the drivers out behind him. Not a bad restart whatsoever from the McLaren driver. Lap 15, 18 laps to go then. It is Kian in the lead, Daxers in second, Will all over the back of Keys. Then for 3rd and 4th place, we've got here the Aston Martin, and the Alfa Romeo going side by side into Tamburello. There's contact. Will has to go over the curb slightly there, but they're still coming out of this corner. Side by side, the two of them, and in the end, Will gets that position. I can't imagine Keys is going to be too happy about that. He might feel like he was half past off track there. Okiki's AI car starting to drop down the order now, so that is Cam up into 7th. He's just behind Salty Bear and just behind Vitinho, and he's come very close to making contact with both of them earlier on in this race. Konghofner now trying to work his way past the AI car of Okiki and just goes a bit deep there. That just shows what the distraction can do for you. But an ideal start from our race leader, Kian, then building up an 0.8 of a second gap. How long is he going to go on these mediums? I think these front 2 are surely going to go soft tyres at the end.
Yeah, I think that's what we're going to see here. They've got to drag it out. They've sort of been forced into this position, forced into this decision. And, well, they've got to try and rock with it now. And they've done a good restart. They look nice and comfortable, not being reeled in too much by those hard runners, as obviously you'd expect the hard tyres to come into their own sort of towards the end of the race. But Cam, oh, we got a yellow flag back there. Someone's gone round. So Mercedes Kong has gone round at the back of the field. Looks like he just lost it out the final corner, and that's going to put him down in 13th place. But beneficially gives Red Matt an extra position and moves up and gets some more points there.
Yes, one Mercedes having a bit of a disaster there. The other one starting to work his way up the field. Salty Bear gets himself up into 5th. Vitinho really struggling on those hard tyres at this moment in time. Will picks up a time penalty. We haven't spoke too much about the penalty situation at the moment, but you can just see it there on the left-hand side. Harley already on 9 seconds. Kong, Vitinho, Will and Daxers on 3 at this moment in time. Here comes Cam all over the back of Vitinho, but at this part of the circuit, it's pretty much single file. You have to be very brave to make an overtake, and he's just losing time hand over fist. Already 1.5 seconds now behind Salty Bear, and probably has to wait until turn number 1, until Tamburello, to try and get a move done. So quite frustrating for him, because you'll see Jordan closing pretty close behind him as Salty Bear and Keysdale pick up a penalty. You'll see Jordan closing up behind him. And also Speed Redmat, who is effectively running in 9th at the moment.
Yeah, I was going to say, Cam had a very good restart under that safety car when Salty Bear and Vitinho came together in turns 4 and 5. He had a chance to maybe drop down the inside towards turn 6 and 7. Didn't quite manage to get the speed he needed to go down the inside, and that may have cost him a couple of positions. And he could have quite easily been up in 5th place right now, but finds himself in 7th and still behind Vitinho like he was, or like he has been since the safety car restart. So missed an opportunity, and it could cost him with the cars coming very, very quickly behind him.
Yeah, DRS has been enabled, so that might help him this time around. Again, still seems to be using quite a lot of ERS, but it seems to be quite a heavy track for the ERS usage at the moment. You can see Vitinho's down to about 50% at the moment. Jordan works his way past Okiki's AI car, so he is up into 8th. It'll be next bit Redmat and Harley working their way past the stricken Ferrari. Back towards the lead of the race, so Kian in a very good place then. Yes, he has still got to pits, but the 5 cars directly behind him all have time penalties, and he's just keeping it nice and fairly tidy at this moment in time. He has got
Oh no! Cam's gone round, sorry to interrupt, but hit by Vitinho, gets past Vitinho. Vitinho outbrakes himself into the chicane, touches the back of Cam, round he goes. Probably damage though for Vitinho, but Cam ultimately drops down to 12th place, and that is not going to be what he wants at this stage of the race. Not good for the title contender.
No damage actually for Vitinho, but Jordan has got some damage, and Harley has as well. So Harley's into the pits. Cam's now got a time penalty. This is all starting to fall apart. Both championship leaders really having a dramatic race when they could have just done with one. Well, they wanted maybe their opponents to have a bit more of a dramatic one. I'm sure they'll have been hoping for a straightforward one. So that is now Cam. He's all the way down in 11th place. Didn't get any damage from that, but again, in the walls with Vitinho for the second time this race. Let's not forget who Vitinho's teammate is in all of this.
Yeah, it is a coincidence, but I doubt it's anything meaningful. It was a very clean move from Cam. It was left late as he moved back onto the racing line, but he had plenty of room. I just think Vitinho slightly missed his braking point, sending his car into the rear end of that Williams. And, I hope Cam doesn't have any rear wing damage or diffuse damage from that. It was quite a hefty shunt as he comes through the scene of the crime. That was committed the lap previously, but he seems to be doing okay. But he's just out of sync now and not really able to cling on to those drivers ahead. It's going to be a struggle from here on, I think.
Yeah, and those softs, we're talking 30% for his front right soft tyre at the moment. There's no chance he's getting towards the end of the race on that set of soft tyres. Kong gets a penalty. Jordan getting rid of his damage. He comes into the pits then, so he's going to drop down to probably down to 12th place, and that's Cam back into the top 10, as Will getting very close here with Daxers. The mediums versus the hard tyres. Of course, these front two have yet to haven't made their second stop, so they're probably starting to struggle a bit more, and things starting to play into the hands of those who have made their second stops. Will, not in a bad place maybe here if he wants to take a victory.
Yeah, the top two at this stage gonna drop down to what's looking like P11 and P11, P12 sort of region. Bearing in mind these lot were at the front, and look, you see how difficult it's getting for Peter Dax here to get through that corner there. Maybe and those tyres struggling to hold on. But yeah, Willie looking very, very good. But the top two got to miss out, got to drop down massively when they pit because of the time lost under the safety car. Around 30 seconds, going to come up behind Kong Hoffner at this stage if they do choose to pit.
Yeah, I wonder when they are going to bite the bullet. Is it worth coming in a bit earlier and trying to maximise those fresher soft tyres, or will they try and just leave it a tiny bit later on? But they still stay. Well, actually, no. Dax had just dropped outside of DRS at the detection point, and I think that is going to cost him here. Round the outside goes well then. Fairly straightforward move. Easy as you're going to get around this circuit, and he is up into second place. Further back, a swap between the two Alpha Tauris as well. That is Redbat up into 6th on those mediums, which are going to be feeling a bit second best at the end of the race. 31% on that front right at this moment in time suggests we are going to see it in the mid-60s maybe by the end, as we have got another yellow flag. That is Kong Hoffner off at Tamburello.
Yeah, he's off and out of the race now, actually. He's out. Took a while for that to register, and another safety car. So the third one of the day, and well, I'm going to see every single person pit, and guess whose hands that plays into? The front two missed out last time, Kian and Peter, who are now going to be allowed a somewhat of a cheaper stop that they missed out on earlier on. So this brings everything back to the racing we like to see, nice and close, nice and compact, and it's going to be a thrilling end to the last race of the season.
Yeah, certainly. I said we might get one VSC or safety car. We got three full safety cars all of a sudden here, and yeah, it's been a very dramatic end to the season. Of course, we're going to see the front two drivers come into the pits. Is anyone going to follow them? No, they do not. Well, so Dax come in from third place. Will stays out on circuit on that set of the hard tyres. Salty Bear staying out there as well. Vitinho, another one. We are seeing a few drivers then, perhaps. Well, Vitinho's case, maybe avoiding a double stack, but a few drivers are thinking it is worth staying out there on their set of tyres. It's Kian, he's going to come out on a fresh set of softs. Now, another thing that is going to play into the hands of Kian and maybe into Red Matt as well, they haven't got any penalties yet, and with 12 laps to go, there's not a lot of time for the others to start building a gap to negate the penalties that they've got. You can see a lot of the field then. 6 seconds for Keys and Vitinho, and Will 12 seconds for Harley. Jordan, Cam, and Dax, and Salty Bear on 3 seconds. So, I'd still say Kian, even though he's going to have some moves to do, he's in a very good place here to take this victory as long as he can keep it clean. We've seen early on already that is easier said than done around here.
Yeah, it's going to be as fast as they're going to go on track on this restart so far in this race. Those new soft tyres at this stage are going to be absolutely rapid as they try and battle for position again on our third safety car restart. One thing to keep an eye on though is that Red Matt and Cam will probably come very close to each other on track once Okiki's AI is dealt with by the Williams of Cam. So going to be interesting to see how that one unfolds. But yeah, I expect the top four to be dropping through the field fairly quickly come the end of this race. So yeah, one to watch out for here. This little battle got a scrap in this midfield. With a little Ferrari of the AI of Akiki in the way. But this could be one to keep an eye on, I'm sure.
Yeah, and I think also, again, Red Matt, he's not getting any penalties. He's definitely not out of the realms of possibility here that we see him get onto the podium, despite all the dramas he's had in this race. A spin, a broken front wing. He could, well, still get himself in a really good place here. Cam, he's only got 3 seconds of penalties, and he had pace earlier on, so if he can keep... He had an okay restart until that incident last time, so might still see some good news from him. He should be able to get ahead of Okiki, and then straight away, he's behind his championship rival again. They seem to be magnetised to each other one way or another around this race. 11 laps to go then. Safety cars should be coming in this lap, although Harley is a long, long way off the back of the field at this moment in time. He's taking it quite steady at this moment, to be perfectly honest. Not like he's in a rush to try and catch up to the safety car whatsoever, so he might even get another lap. But it is Will in the lead, Salty Bear second, Vitinho third, and Rich, Kian, Dax, Keys, Red Matt, Okiki's AI. So it is Cam, Jordan, and Harley, the 11 runners remaining with 11 laps remaining.
Yeah, it's points for everyone. Well, will be points for everyone come the end of the race. Well, if they can get it to the checkered flag. But that means Cam will need a result of some description. He's going to have to finish 5th or higher, no matter what. So he's got work to do come the end of this race. He's going to have to finish, well, at least gain 5 positions and get past Red Matt and hope that Red Matt drops down. So he's got lots of work to do as that Williams car. But he's on the new soft tyres. He's got to try and work his way through. There's plenty of new soft tyres ahead of him as well. So he's got to be matched for pace wherever you look on the track. 10 laps to go, and yeah, expect him to do his very best.
Yeah, man, because Harley did take a bit of time for him to catch up to the safety car, we have got one more lap, so not, to be honest, I don't think that's really good news or bad news for anyone, as Vitinho now deciding that time is worth to come into the pits and maybe put on a fresh set of soft tyres, so he's going to drop a long way down the order. Jordan into the pits as well. Did Jordan pick up damage under the... No, he's not. He's just deciding, well, I'm at the back of the field, I might as well put on a fresh set of the soft tyres, and I'll still be at the back of the field, so nothing gained or nothing lost, really, from that. Hopefully that doesn't mean we've got another lap or two under the safety car, because I imagine Burt Mylander's getting a bit fed up of leading this race at the moment. He's had a very busy evening all of a sudden, as we expected, around a circuit that can be as tricky as Imola. But still, obviously, Will... Like, good news for the soft tyres, because any worries they had about tyre wear at the end completely goes out the window. But probably good news for those on the hard and the mediums, because any tyre wears they have gone, and less time for those on the quicker tyres to work their way past them. We're only going to have 9 racing laps when we get back underway.
Also plays into their hands as well, these guys at the front. The fact that everyone behind, bar Kiki's AI, of course, is on the same compound of tyre, all within a very, very similar life window. And so they're going to be battling each other. There's no doubt about that. So while they battle away for positions from 4th downwards, the top 3 are going to hopefully try and get underway very nicely indeed and pull away and use the battling behind them as some kind of cushion to give themselves a gap.
Yeah, certainly. Safety car then is coming in on this lap. What can Will do? We've got all sorts of mixtures of strategies here. Top car on a set of older hards. 2nd and 3rd, older mediums. 4th, 7th, fresh softs. Okiki's AI doesn't count, so then we've got all the other cars around them on fresh sets of softs as well. And it's going to be up to Will to get us back underway. Saw Kian do this quite well last time around as, there we go, you can see Will has gone pretty early as well. And you know what, Salty Bear has actually been able to follow him. And those two have caught Rich napping ever so slightly. So we are back underway. 9 laps remaining. It is Will in the lead. Salty Bear in 2nd. Rich is in 3rd, but he's not going to be there for much longer because here comes Kian. He's going to have the inside line for turn number 1 and the first proper turn at Tamburello. And that is Kian up into 3rd place. He just has to stay in range of those cars ahead to end up taking the victory. I think we might see him end up trying to make some moves out on track, though.
Yep, contact not once but twice between Dax and Rich through the 2 chicanes here. Peter tapping the rear end a few times of that Aston Martin. Didn't quite cost anyone any damage, I don't think, or time lost. Either way, you can see the difference between the 2 tyre compounds. He's got to try down the inside, but Rich outbreaks the Haas driver and keeps 4th position. But now they're all trying to get involved, as it looks like damage there for one of the Alfa Romeos, as he's got wing damage as Key misses an end plate now and runs over the gravel.
Yeah, that was slightly messy, that, as Cam finally gets past O'Keefe's car. Speed Red Mat's involved in all this as well. We've seen one of the cars there go skipping across the grass. Not quite sure who that one was, but Cam's in 8th. Speed Red Mat in 7th. Just trying to see who has got the damage out of them. It's Keys who's actually got damage on both parts of his front wing, so he's going to be an absolutely sitting duck, going to drop down the field. Not what he'd have wanted whatsoever, but it is still Will in the lead of this race. Salty Bear is in 2nd, Kian in 3rd. I think we are going to see Dax finally work his way up into 4th place there. You can see Rich really starting to struggle on those mediums with all the soft runners around him at this moment in time. Vitinho gets his way past Harley. He's up into 8th place. Him and Harley have both had a bit of a tricky race, if we are being truthful, but the front 2 still staying as they are, and Kian there just pushing a bit hard out of Villeneuve, gets onto the gravel, loses a few tenths of a second. He'll want to get this move done early while the tyres are at their freshest, because he's going to find himself in a DRS zone next time. And that just might give hope for the top 2 that one of them could at least take the victory out on track.
Yeah, like I thought, they're going to have a bit of a cushion for a few laps. It was going to be a question of who was it going to be who's going to break the harder tyre wall at the front. It has been Kian and now Peter as well, and it looks like Red Matt is going to try and dive down the inside of the Aston Martin of Rich and gets past, puts a car between him and Cam behind, and then Vitinho gets past as well. So it's been a question of who can get past. Cam tried to and has lost 3 positions in trying to do that. It's difficult, but Red Matt gets a 3-second penalty, and that evens the playing field between him and Cam. Yellow flag behind.
Yeah, that's Harley who's ended up spinning around, so he's down into 11th place. Keys did get a speeding penalty, but he's still out there. He's still going to get himself 2 points at the moment because Okiki is not in this race. As Jordan on the back of Cam, who's right on the back of Rich, and now that they've all got DRS, it's just starting to become a bit of a logjam here. Cam went a bit deep, and Jordan is trying to try around the outside of the end of Tamburello, and I'm afraid that gap was always going to be closing, but Cam definitely still finding it difficult at this moment in time. He has lost a bit of pace there, just going slightly offline, and he's now got the Alpine starting to hound him. Will still hanging on to the lead of this race, and Salty Bear in 2nd, and we're probably starting to head to the point where the hard tyres are going to be in better shape. Obviously not than the softs, but definitely of those mediums of the car behind him. But he's got 3 seconds to pull out if he wants to beat Salty Bear, and then 6 seconds if he wants to beat Kian. This is going to be very tough for the Aston Martin.
Yeah, he's done a fantastic job on this restart. The pressure from behind that Kian is putting on Salty Bear, if they do go and battle down towards turns 1, 2, 3, up towards 5 and 6 as well, that could allow Willow just to slip outside of DRS range for the final few laps to come. But at the moment, it's not looking likely, as there's a big old DRS train forming at the front, within the front 4 driver, and Red Mac clearly showing his speed there, setting the fastest lap of the race at 1:16.9. Round the outside he goes. Willow, contact between the two of them, a bit of budging, one over the outside of the track there and cutting the corner. Willow drops down from P1 down to P4. 3 cars go past after contact with Salty Bear.
Yeah, we just caught the tail end of that one, as we're going 3 wide in the back as well with Cam, Jordan and Rich. But big loser out of all that is Will. He's now down into 4th place, having to go over the grass, and cleaning up those tyres is going to take a bit of an effort. So Salty Bear now leads. Kian is second, and on those fresh soft tyres, without the car in front of him having DRS, I think he's very soon going to be taking the lead of this race. Dax is in 3rd, Will in 4th, but he's now going to have Speed Matt on the back of him. Like we said, Cam and Jordan did get ahead of Rich, but they've got a bit of a gap now to catch up to the Vitinho. And for Cam, yeah, he's got to rely on something happening to Red Matt in this race. Hopefully, obviously for Red Matt, it doesn't, but Cam, it looks like he's just going to come short of the championship. The consistency, both of them have had 5 podiums out of 9 races. As it stands at the moment, it looks very possible that both of them would end up on missing on the podium, but still 5 laps to go. You never know what could happen. What is going to happen is Kian looks very straightforward to take the lead of the race. One of the most straightforward passes you'll see down the inside. Kian is in the lead, and with no penalties, he's looking very good to take his first victory.
Yeah, he's driven fantastically today. Had a few unfortunate incidences with the safety car coming out, which didn't quite play into his hands, but he's worked his way back up. Done a very nice job, got the move done on the latest safety car restart when he needed to, got past the traffic, put a few cars between him and those on the same strategy as himself. And now he's at the front after all his hard work. It's paid off, and he's looking to seal his 3rd place in the championship.
Yeah, he is. Salty Bear's actually picked up an additional 3-second time penalty at the moment, so that plays into the hand of Dax, plays into the hand of Red Matt, and of course helps Willow out ever so slightly. So, you know, these penalties could still happen. Who knows whether Kian, just check how many warnings he's on at this moment in time. He is still on the 1 warning. So considering the majority of other drivers have got a penalty, and fair play to Rich as well, who's only on 1 warning. Kiki, he's an AI car at the moment. You wouldn't expect an AI to get any warnings around the circuit. So no points for him. But Rich and Kian definitely doing well to keep it very clean on the penalty situation at the moment. And you can see Salty Bear just struggling. He's nearly outside of DRS range, but gets a little bit of a boost and goes from 9/10 of a second behind at the start of the straight. By the time he's at the braking zone, he's about half a second behind, as Red Matt has got himself up into 4th on the track. Our champion-elect, with 4 laps to go, is in 4th place.
Yeah, breezed past Willie there. Willie didn't really put up too much of a fight. Went to the inside line, wasn't really much of a defence, just sort of allowed him past on the racing line, and Matt gets up to P4 and really fires his way back on to the battle for the podium position. So looking for another podium then is Red Matt here at the final race of the season.
Yeah, he is on, I believe, for 3rd place at the moment with penalties. Harley picks up another one, and we'll just get it up again. That's 24 seconds for Keys, 21 for Harley. They have a lot more penalties around this track than I expected. I think there is definitely obviously that gravel on the exit, but there's just enough of a width worth of tarmac at a lot of corners that can end up catching you out. So those two need to be careful that they don't end up getting disqualified from this race, which would not be how you wanted to end the season whatsoever. But Red Matt, he's on to 3rd. He gets ahead of Dax. It'll be a 2nd place, which will still help him out, which would be quite a nice way for him to end the season, as Harley is in the gravel here. Still racing, of course. Still on for a top 10, as of course, Okiki is not there. So fastest lap outside the top 10 is currently Keys, although I think that's soon going to be the fastest lap inside the top 10. And fastest lap outside will be Harley. Back towards the leaders though, and he's still hanging on his Salty Bear for what all his life at the moment. It's a valiant effort on the 17 lap old mediums. Definitely being aided by the DRS, but seems to be doing a better job managing his DRS, because you can see red light was just flashing there for a split second on Kian. Out on track, don't be surprised if Salty somehow ends up finding a way to take this win.
Yeah, he had that collision earlier on with Willow on the safety car restart, which is why Willow's now down in 5th place. Doesn't seem to be affected by that in terms of damage, and has pushed on from that little incident and making this battle really tense. Despite the 6-second penalty on track, like you say, doing a really good job of still holding on to Kian, who's on those soft tyres, as well as those behind him, just holding everyone off, doing the job he needs to do, looking good for the Mercedes driver.
Yeah, and I think really just sums up the race there. Cam, he's had a spin out of Aqua Minerale. He is down to an effective 9th place. It has not been the race that Cam would have expected. But 2 laps to go. Kian still in the lead. Salty Bear still just hanging within the DRS range. Can't quite get close enough to have a realistic effort at getting an overtake. Dax holding on behind him. Then Red Matt is there as well. We've seen Vitinho. He's now got onto the back of this pack, and maybe that is why, because he's definitely cut the corner there at Tamburello and earns himself a 3-second time penalty. But he's flying on those soft tyres. Him and Jordan just pitted, of course, on the final lap of the safety car. They've got that extra freshness in these tyres, and it definitely seems to be helping out Vitinho at the moment.
Keep an eye out for Red Matt as well. He saved up 1/3 of his battery in compared to the drivers around him, who have just a couple of percent left. So he's looking to burn it all down towards the final couple of corners. He could make a late move here on Peter, who's trying to make a move on Salty Bear, who's really struggling. But so is Kian at the front. It could be anyone's game down towards the final lap, as they got 1 sector to go on this lap. And then we're going to go and navigate the final lap here at Imola. It's going to be a battle for the ages, one to finish the season on a high. And anyone, really, from 1st down to 6th could win us on track.
Yeah, who knows what could happen here. It's going to be a very hectic final part of the race. But here we go then. Heading on to the final lap. And this is the closest Salty Bear's been for a while. But I think he's probably maybe just a tiny bit too far behind. Although that Mercedes, a bit like real life, has got extreme straight line speed. He's going to be able to do this round the outside into turn number 1. He gets into a lead here, and Daxers has got past Kian as well. And now with McLaren off track ever so slightly, and Red Matt goes round the outside. That is a nightmare for Kian, 1st to 4th in the space of what was effectively 2 corners there. He's got Will all over the back of him. Salty Bear's managed to get a fantastic lead up here. Down the inside goes Will on the McLaren driver, nearly loses the back of the car, and Vitinho, I think, made contact with the back of him, so he's into the wall, and that promotes Jordan up a place. Salty Bear still leading, then Dax in 2nd as he heads into Aqua Minerale. Rich and Okiki, they also get past Vitinho. This has been a dramatic final lap of the race, all caused by that move into Tamburello. Are we going to see any more issues down the order here? And as things stand at the moment, as Salty Bear goes very wide, it is going to be Dax who is going to end up taking his 3rd win of the season in the Haas. But Salty Bear leads us around the final corner. He's going to take the victory then. Out on track in the Mercedes. Oh no, he's not. He's spun it. He's lost it out the final corner. Dax takes the win. Out on track, but it is 2nd place. And Kian takes the win in the end. Dax is 2nd. Red Matt in 3rd. What a finish to that race.
I can't believe what I've just seen. That last lap was chaos from turn 1 to the final corner. Absolute madness. Salty Bear, who looked like he's across the line of P1, where he can't get the last corner of the last lap of the last race of the season, loses the rear end, drops down to 6th place, still finishes the race despite having no front wing intact. Absolute chaos, and somehow, tell me, I don't know how it happened, but Kian finished back on top again. He always finds the way back, didn't he, today?
Yeah, I think we completely forgot, I think, the hecticness of that. They actually had no penalties in all of that. Cam gets a 20-second time penalty for ignoring the yellow flag. Seems slightly harsh at the end of the race. I imagine that is because he has less session. Dax in 2nd, Red Matt in 3rd. Jordan ends up out. He wasn't even on the back of that train at the start of that lap. He ends up taking 4th place. Will in 5th. Salty Bear, not that I think he'll be bothered too much, but I think he was very lucky not to retire. He's 6th, Rich 7th, Okiki 8th, Cam in 9th, Harley 10th, Vitinho 11th, Keys 12th. Of course, Okiki's car will not count in all of that, as Keys just, he's going to end the season with some donuts, give the fans something to celebrate at the end of this, and that's very brave to do this at Imola, because it's not exactly the widest track, as you can see by the fact that he's making his way into the grass ever so slightly there.
Yeah, he's chosen possibly the thinnest bit of track available to him to do it, but he's still giving it a good go anyway. And what a race to round off the season here at One Hub. Absolute brilliant race from start to finish. It looked like it was all playing to Cam's hands at the start as we saw Speed Red Matt spin, but what was to follow, no one could have predicted. There was 3 safety cars in the end, plenty of incidents to look at. I'm sure the stewards will be busy. But yeah, what a race. What a result for Red Matt, and he wins the championship. Congratulations to him, and congratulations to everyone who took part in the season. It was a great race to finish. I'm sure they will be happy with their results.
Yeah, the in-game driver of the day, they're going to Okiki. I don't think, again, F1 2021 sort of patting itself on the back for that one, but it is Kian who gets his first victory of the season, then second place for Dax, but third place for Red Matt, his 6th podium. First time he's actually been on the podium and not on the top step, and he claims the season 19 championship. Here are the provisional results. Said Kian takes the victory, Dax in second, Red Matt third, Jordan Will rounded out the top 5 first points of the season for Will. Sontibear is 6th, Rich in 7th, Cam, he will be classified 8th in the end, Harley takes 9th, Vitinho 10th, Keys the final finisher, Okiki, he was an AI car, and we saw Con, KPP and Rogue, 3 retirements, bringing out each one of the 3 safety cars. So then, B-Boy, who was your driver of the day, and what question would you like to ask them in the driver of the day press conference?
Well, I mean, there's plenty of prospects. I think we've got to take our hats off to Peter, who, despite being in the battle for the top 3 in the championship, he has done an absolute brilliant job, starting from 10th, finishing 2nd. Looked at one point like he was going to take the win, but back came Kian. So I'm going to give it to the Belgian, Peter Dax there. Ask you a question of, did you feel at one stage you had the pace to win the race? And how did you enjoy the final race of the season?
Yeah, certainly. I think a few drivers might be glad that final race is over. It was very dramatic. I'm going to go for, not because he got the victory, but because of how he got the victory in keeping it clean. I am going to go for Kian, and I'm going to ask a question about keeping it clean. Was that something that you worked on in practice, getting no penalties? Because with the amount of safety cars, that proved out to be absolutely crucial. You'll see the answers to those questions on the One Hub website, and you'll be able to vote for your driver of the day on Twitter. That's not the end, though, for the One Hub action. There is Precision Tier action live now over on Twitch. So that is on Twitch for tonight for that tier. Make sure to check all that out. And, of course, we've also got the action from the Pinnacle tier. I believe that has just started now, and it is Mac taking us through that. Liam might be joining him, but he's having a few connection issues. That is it then for One Hub Podium for this season. Red Matt takes the championship. Thanks to B-Boy for joining me in the commentary box. Thanks also to our sponsors and partners, Mental Health Foundation, Next Level Racing, ERT, Vespertine, and 3M Sim Racing. One Hub will be back in spring, so make sure to keep an eye out in the new year for information to sign up for Season 20. But for myself and B-Boy, thank you so much for watching, and enjoy the rest of your evening. Goodbye.
Goodbye.